The cabin stood alone in the forest, a weathered structure where Little Red Riding Hood's eccentric grandmother lived. Inside, the old woman sat, knitting furiously, her gnarled fingers working crimson yarn into the shape of a hoodie. She hummed a peculiar tune, one that seemed to harmonize with the wind rattling the windows. As Red watched, her grandmother's smile widened, revealing teeth that seemed sharper than they should have been.
"Here you go, my dear,"
the grandmother said, draping the hoodie over Red's shoulders. The material felt unusually warm, almost alive.
"Never run, child,"
the grandmother warned, her voice low and firm.
"That's how they find you. The skinwalkers. They hunt by sound and running calls them."
Red nodded, though her mind wandered to how the hoodie shimmered in the light. She hugged her grandmother goodbye and set off toward town, too excited to heed the warning. By the time she neared her mother's house, Red was sprinting. Her footsteps echoed through the trees like drum beats, and she felt a strange chill ripple through the air. But her mother's warm embrace dispelled her unease, and together they admired the vivid red hoodie. That night, the horror began. A massive wolf crept into their home, its glowing eyes fixed on Red and her mother. Red hid in a closet as the beast tore into her mother's flesh, her screams cutting through the night. But before the wolf could devour its meal, a shadowed figure entered. A skinwalker. The creature lunged at the wolf, and their fight spilled outside. Terrified, Red seized the opportunity to escape. She remembered her grandmother's words and walked back to the cabin, trembling with every deliberate step. The cabin door was already open as Red approached. Inside, her grandmother sat knitting, her hands slick with blood.
"What's wrong, child?"
she asked, her tone calm as Red stammered out the night's horrors. But something shifted in the grandmother's expression. As Red's gaze fell to underneath the bed, she noticed a bloodied arm stretched out. Suddenly, the image of her grandmother in the woods, looming over a corpse, flashed in her mind. The memory hit Red like a thunderclap, her body frozen in place as her mind reeled. In that flickering vision, the grandmother no longer resembled the frail, kindly woman who had raised her. Her features, contorted eyes glowing with a predatory yellow light, mouth stretched into a jagged, wolfish grin. The corpse she loomed over was unrecognizable, but the grandmother's actions were chillingly clear. She hunched over the body like a beast over its kill, her head darting up briefly as if sniffing the air. Red's breath hitched as she returned to the present, realizing she wasn't imagining things. Her grandmother seemed to have changed. Though she still wore her human guise, there was something wrong with her movements. Too fluid, too deliberate, as if she were barely holding the illusion together. Then it happened. A low growl rumbled deep within her chest. Her neck craned unnaturally to the side, and she sniffed the air again. Slowly, her glowing eyes met Red's. Red fled back to town, her steps measured, her breath shallow. But something new awaited her there, a figure wearing a crimson hoodie, its hands black as midnight, walking, searching for something. Back at the cabin, the grandmother chuckled softly as she cut into pieces of meat with a knife. And in the forest, Little Red walked with purpose, a bloody skull nestled in her basket. The hoodie had awakened her, and now she was no longer prey but a predator in her own right.